Brilliant, and welcome everyone to this meeting of the Planning Applications Board for Wednesday the 26th of July 2024. Can I remind you that the meeting is being recorded and the recording will be made available on the Comhairle's website following the meeting. Item number 1 on your agenda is the minute of the meeting of the 9th of May earlier this year. That's for your members happy with that? Yeah. Item number 2 is declaration of interest. Members are asked to declare any interest they may have in any items of the agenda. It would be helpful if members explained why they are declaring an interest in the item concerned. Any motion or amendment in relation to a planning application must be based solely on planning reasons. If a member moves an amendment, the chair will invite him or her to clearly articulate the amendment and the planning reasons upon which it is based. Thereafter, the chair may at his discretion continue the business of the meeting in accordance with the time-out protocol. A copy of that protocol has been made available to all members via the Planning Application Board folder on SharePoint. The planning manager for the Development Management team will present the recommendation of officers. In the event of a member seeking to move an amendment, the chair may call upon the legal advisor or planning advisor to provide advice to the board. Any declaration of interest? No. Okay. Moving on to item number 3 on today's agenda. This is an application for the conversion of a barn to a dwelling. Erect a shed at the barn at 20 Knock Point, Isle of Lewis. The scheme of delegation states that an appointed officer shall not determine an application under this scheme by or on behalf of an officer directly involved in the statutory planning process in the administrative area of the Comhairle. Therefore, this application has been brought to the board for a decision. And can I invite Maura Ferguson to speak to this report?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. As the Chair has said, this is an application that's brought forward now due to a member of staff within the planning service being the applicant. So the proposal is to convert an existing outbuilding former barn to create a new dwelling. And to erect a garden shed within the grounds. Slide is just of the location. So on the left-hand slide there you can see bounded in blue the extent of the original croft. The former croft house is number 20 and the site is outlined in red. The proposal is to convert the existing shed into a house and extend out the back to create some additional living space. Within the curtilage there would be space for parking for the new dwelling, as well as maintaining current parking for the croft house. And also proposal to erect a shed to the front of the house. This is just a plan of the existing elevations, and these are the proposals for alteration. So there would be a small porch added to the front. The former garage door would be closed off and there would be an extension erected to the rear of the dwelling to provide kitchen and living facilities. Just the floor plan shows that within the existing building would be a couple of bedrooms and a bathroom, and then the extension of the rear to provide living accommodation. Shed, it's just a small utility shed to be erected at the front of the premises. And then these are just some images of the building. So as I say, like there'll be a small porch erected in the front, that door will be closed off. The house on the left is 20 Knock. They're still in the same family ownership, albeit the croft house is decrofted. The house, White House on the right, is the nearest other dwelling, and in between the proposed development and that croft house there is another croft. So you can see the croft 19, it's just a very narrow croft in between. There's an existing area of large hard standing, which will provide the parking for the properties existing and the proposed. There's just an image to the rear of the building, looking towards the driveway onto the main road. Within conditions that there be planting or a fence along this boundary to protect the amenity of the existing house at 20 Knock. That concludes the presentation. The recommendation is for approval per the report, which has been shared with you. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. Do any members of the board have any questions or comments? Therefore, an agreement to the recommendations set at 3.1. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item number 4 on the agenda. This is the extension to Hard Rock Quarry, retain existing means of access and formerly quarried area for stockpiles and processing, and erect shed for plant at Cleich and Lower Green Quarry, Isle of Barra. This application has received more than 6 representations, which are considered by the appointed officer to be valid and raise material planning considerations, and is therefore presented to the board for a decision, and can invite Mauric Ferguson to speak to this report.
Thank you, Chair. This planning application relates to an established quarry at Cleich and Lower Green and the Isle of Barra. Overall, the site extends to 1.95 hectares, and it comprises part of the existing hard rock quarry, the quarry floor that has already been won, and part grassy grassland. The location is classed as outwith settlement in relation to the spatial strategy of the development plan. It's located adjacent to the A888, which is the circular road around Barra, and it's situated 250 metres distance to the closest nearing neighbourhood dwellings to right the west of the site. The ground levels across the site vary. Quarry floor at the moment, road level at the site entrance is about 47 metres above ordinance datum. The top of the bank, where the extension, the highest point within the proposed extension area, is 59 metres, so there's about a 12 metre difference between the quarry floor and the top of the existing vegetation. The site itself has got class 3 peaty soils and acidic wet and acidic grassland. It's largely underlain with rock, which comes through to the surface. On the site itself.
Hi. I can't see the slides. It's just the. I think that's if it's showing slides.
Could you see the previous set?
Could you see the previous set, Councillor McNeill?
No, this is the well it was the first one I seen. That was the introduction one. So
In the second. You're not councillor, you says you can't see the
Yeah,
slides.
just can't see the presentation.
Morag, we haven't seen the presentation for this
No.
application at all.
no.
It's showing up on screen. It should have a break right in it.
That's it. Yeah.
It should have a red screen. It doesn't have a red right in it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Wait, you like me to go back? What I've said is covered.
No, you're fine.
It's on the slides.
Not
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So the landscape character type is the prominent hills and mountains landscape character type. And there are no other environmental designations. There are some designated heritage assets to the southwest and west of the site, and there is considered to be reasonable potential for unknown archaeological features within or close to the site, and therefore a condition has been recommended for some archaeological mitigation work. The site is identified at risk of surface water flooding on the SEPA flood maps. This map just shows the location of the quarry in relation to the rest of Barra. So you have Olgary to the north of the airport, and then the grey is just showing circular road around Barra. The quarry is located next, just east of Lochaldun, west of Lochaldun, which provides the water supply for Barra. Castle Bay shown in the south. This just provides like a map that just shows the nature of the topography. So you can see the contours there, Benachliage to the north, the quarry, including most is the north westerly part, is shown in red, and the road you can see there. And then you can see the loch with the dam and the buildings to the side here of the Scottish water treatment works. The nearest houses are the two houses that are shown here. Again, this is just like an aerial view, and it just sets out in a little bit more detail just the relationship of the quarry to some of the features. So the quarry is shown here, the area that has already been won, and the extension will go in a northwesterly direction here. The nearest houses are these two dwellings here. So there's two houses and an agricultural shed along the road here. The road falls as you go down the hill, so you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 passing places to give you a kind of sense of distance. It's roughly about 250 metres from the quarry entrance to these properties. Then you can see, here is the river, which is the main tributary feeding Lochaldun, which provides the water supply, and then here are the water treatment works and the tanks. It's just an aerial image, slightly dated, that shows the area of the former quarry. The redundant plant and machinery that was within the quarry has been cleared. And this area of rock, which provides this primarily the main screening, is to be retained. So it's a kind of raised area. That'll be retained, and there is like a bund here, which will be improved. And there is an existing bund here as well, and the main entrance coming into the quarry here. The proposal is to erect a shed on this area here, which previously had plan consent for the same building. And the weighbridge is just as you go in the quarry entrance here. And again, just to the left of the slide, you can see the two residential properties here and the agricultural shed. Again, just for context, you can see passing place just opposite the quarry, and then like another couple of passing places here, and the road drops down from this kind of slightly more elevated area. Okay, so the white area is basically the existing quarry, largely already won. Said the weighbridge at the entrance, and the proposal is to build a building here. So this area will be retained, this kind of elevated area. The existing soil bund here can be improved upon, and likewise on this side. The material that will be stripped off the side here, as it's won over the next few years, will be stored at the back here and will eventually be used for the restoration. So it's proposed that the existing worked area is retained for access, first of all, to maintain existing access, and also for the stocking, stockpiles, and for any processing operations and the site infrastructure such as the weighbridge. The further area proposed for extraction equates to 135,000 tonnes of aggregate, and the excavation of an area to the east for the erection of a workshop within the site. That was previously permitted in 2005. So there is actually to be a slight increase in this area to the east in order to level it for the siting of the proposed shed. There is a need to introduce surface water drainage, and the intention is to introduce drainage here, and you'll see from the photographs which needs any hydrocarbon spillage or any contaminated soils would first go through this drainage system before discharging to land. It's also proposed that there will be a soil bund created just in the area to the left there, shown in green. So the application seeks an operation period of 18 years, and that's to reflect the level of output over the last 18 to 20 years. So it will be an area of approximately 9.9 hectares to the north of the existing site. Will be restored. So that's the area that was shown in green to the north, in order to provide retrospective compliance with the previous consent. And the rock will be won by drilling and blasting using specialist contractors. And the rock would then be processed by a mobile plant located within the quarry floor. Extraction would work existing faces back northwestwards and southwards. And the current quarry floor level of 49 metres above ordinary state has been maintained. Proposal would retain the outer slopes of the raised landform of the extended quarry area, which would provide screening. A finalised restoration scheme has been prepared for the site. The proposal would be to restore the site to nature conservation, including enhancement for biodiversity, and it would make use of the stored peaty soils to profile the quarry floor and to create a similar grass habitat to what exists at the moment in the surrounding area. So this is the kind of restoration plan that just shows that there will be areas of water features and drainage throughout the site, grassland, which would eventually return to its natural habitat. At the time of drafting the report, there were 8 representations in relation to the application, all of which objected or raised concerns about the proposal. The main issues are raised are summarised in Attachment 4 of the report, and a full copy of the representations is included at Appendix 3. So these representations were primarily around the proximity to existing residential development, exposure to dust with adverse impacts on amenity and health, the loss of the hill to the west of the quarry with resulting visual impacts and weather impacts, the risk of increased visibility of the quarry from nearby properties, the risk of flooding, adverse impact on local wildlife, including a range of species, including otter, deer, corncrake, eagle, migratory birds, and butterflies, a risk of increase in heavy traffic in the area, the adverse impacts of blasting, previous experience of lack of notification of blasting, noise pollution, fire risk, impact on value of properties, land ownership, and queries raised on operational hours, blasting times, and monitoring of dust and pollution. And there had also been a request to tape off the extent of the proposed extension. These issues are all addressed within the assessment in the report, and a suite of conditions are proposed to manage these impacts. The application is subject to screening under the environmental impact assessment regulations as required, and it's concluded for the reasons set out in that decision notice that the proposed development did not require a full environmental impact assessment report. It's just taking it back to a slide that we looked at earlier. So again, this is an aerial view of the quarry as was existing at the time that the aerials were generated. And then as you come down the road towards these 2 nearest residential properties, this is the view from the closest, looking east towards the site. So the road climbs gently up the hill, and the quarry is kind of in the area here. This next slide is just taken on the verge, looking past the house, in order to just kind of get a slightly better view. Again, like going up the road, because the houses face the road, and it's an assessment that there will be limited additional visual impacts from the key rooms on these properties. There's now a series of images that are taken from within the quarry itself. So there are insets at the top left of the screen that just show the location where these images have been taken. So the first one is just looking from within the quarry towards the main road. So you can see that the main road passes here, and the way village is just to the left of the gate coming in. This is a view of the existing site looking south. So again, this shows looking towards this kind of raised face, most of which, would be retained. And then this one is a view looking north. So it's kind of reverse of looking away from the entrance. You can just stand in the middle of the quarry looking towards the back. And this is the area where there would be some retrospective restoration carried out to comply with the conditions of the former consent. This is a view just at the far end of the existing excavation, looking west across the site. And then this is like looking north west into the area that would into the face that where the quarry would be extended, so the face would extend in this direction. Then these images that are taken from the existing area just above the quarry to give some context in relation to both the area to be excavated and the residential properties. So this first view is taken at the 59-metre height, looking westwards towards the two residential properties that are down here, and the road comes up here. And then this is a view again above the surface of the existing area that's been won, and you're looking just northwestwards into this area here, which would be excavated through the extension. And then this is again standing above the quarry, looking east, and the proposal is the new building. The shed that's proposed would be constructed in this area here once there's a bit of tidying up of the area there, including some limited further excavation. So just in summary, the proposals have the potential to result in noise, vibration and dust, which could have an adverse effect on residential amenity. However, it's considered that with the application of strict controls through the use of planning conditions, which are set out in Appendix 1, that there will be sufficient control to address these potential impacts. It's also recommended that details of the surface water management system, including the surface water drainage for the site, and the provision of a finalised restoration plan are controlled by condition. A number of other conditions are set out in Appendix 1 to the report, which are also recommended to address the identified potential impacts. The report's assessment has considered the potential impacts on the environment and on the local communities on the public road, and it is our assessment that these would be capable of satisfactory mitigation. The report concludes overall that the development would be acceptable and would result in economic and social benefits to the area. That concludes the presentation. The recommendation is for approval, subject to the conditions set out in Appendix 1 to the report. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Nora, for that very in-depth presentation. I'd like to open this out now to members of the board. Any questions?
The proposed soil bit fund, is that there's no probability of that sliding down the hill?
No, this area here is elevated. So this is kind of like the kind of elevated rock face to the south. And as you move in here, this land is higher.
Okay.
So this would effectively sit inside the quarry floor, and there would be a raised area of rock here that would retain it.
Do that. Historically, there were concerns relating to lack of notification of blasting times. You're happy that in the conditions there's sufficient mitigation for better sequencing for blasting notification for those in the locality?
Yes, maybe objections.
0.38.
If I can take you to condition 6 in appendix 1. Condition 6 deals with a blasting management plan, which requires to be submitted to be agreed in writing by the Comhairle Planning Authority, and that would be reviewed in conjunction with colleagues in environmental health. And at part 7 of that condition, we have a requirement for the submission of a blasting notification management plan, which will set out the method of notification of when it's due to take place, and that includes the requirement for physical notice on and near the site, and by other means, including commonly nowadays a mail drop, email, telephone, text alert, and other website notices, for example. They could provide advance notice through the Comhairle weekly newspaper, which has wide circulation in the area, as well as notifying a specific mail drop to the nearest entities. So we're satisfied that that aspect of that condition would control that previous concern.
Good. Okay.
Is it not the case that blasting is now done by accredited companies rather than the ad hoc way it was done in the past? So these companies will know how to go about warning the neighbours and whoever needs to be warned.
Yes, that is the case. I mean, nowadays they are specialist. Blasting is, by and large carried out by specialist contractors, because the insurance requirements would mean that it would not be cost effective for small developers to carry out their own blasting. It's much more highly controlled than it was at one time, and obviously the risks mean that the insurance premiums will be high, and therefore even throughout the Western Isles nowadays, at quarries it is specialists are brought in, and the blasting is usually carried out maybe on a yearly, maybe even less than that basis. So they bring down sufficient rock and then it's processed over a period of time. But the quarry would be unlikely to be operational all the time, and the blasting would be infrequent events.
Do any members online have any questions or comments to make?
No, I'm fine, thank you. I'm aware of the quarry, and I've seen the improvements that have taken place recently. So, no, I'm perfectly happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McNeill. For the recommendation at 3.1 in this report is that planning be approved. Do you agree? Thank you. Well, that just about brings me to the conclusion of today's meeting. Just before we finish, I wish to convey the board's appreciation and best wishes to our retiring Deputy Chief Executive, Mr. Comhairle for Kiva. I know I speak on behalf of all of you when I say that Comhairle's presence and assistance to this board and the Comhairle as a whole has been of great importance and merit to this institution. We all wish him well in his future endeavours beyond Sandwick Road. Yeah. Therefore, I invite all of you present in a show of our appreciation and best wishes to our retiring Deputy Chief Executive by joining with me in offering a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for these very kind words. All I would add to that is that the Comhairle is very, very lucky to having one of the most professional planning teams anywhere. Absolutely. I think the team we've got, you can be absolutely guaranteed when they put a report forward that report has been well thought through, well structured, and the recommendation it is absolutely robust. It is a small team, it's under significant amount of pressure, and it is going to be facing a tsunami of renewable activity operations over the next number of years, which is going to put the team under real pressure. So I would urge members at the next budget setting process to think very, very carefully about the capacity within the team and how that capacity needs to be supported over the next period.
Absolutely. Well said.
So thanks very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, with that, I now close today's meeting and wish you all a very pleasant onward sun. Thank you very much.